Hello, happy almost Thanksgiving. It's Melanie, and I thought I'd just go live for a few minutes and talk about how to stick with your healing diet over the holiday. So I have some notes written down that I will reference in case I forget anything. But with Thanksgiving coming up, we've been doing a lot of cooking in my house. We have made apple crisp, we've made chocolate pie, and we made a peanut butter pie, which isn't really for Thanksgiving. It's for my husband's birthday party. That's the day after Thanksgiving. But we've been cooking a lot, and I've been thinking about how to stick to a healing diet when you are having a big feast basically come up. A holiday that's revolved around food like Thanksgiving is really hard sometimes when it comes to sticking with the healing protocol that you're on, if you are on one. And even in general, just trying to make sure that you stay on a good path with your diet and that you're not overindulging sometimes really trips people up. So I wanted to give you some tips for how to stick with your healing diet or any type of protocol that you're on over the holiday. And the first thing is to really think about alternatives. So you have to kind of have a clear idea of what you're eating and why, and alternatives to maybe the standard holiday food. So when it comes to pies, for example, like I told you, I've made I haven't made my pumpkin pie yet, but that's coming up tomorrow. And I have found recipes that fit with my diet. So I can't do eggs, and I don't do refined sugar or any grains or gluten or dairy. So that's a lot of things. But I've been able to find recipes that fit with my diet and then still enjoy the holiday. So that way, when I go to Thanksgiving dinner, I'm not deprived. I'm not left out, and there aren't a whole bunch of things on the table that I can't eat. And even if there are, then I've provided something of my own. I've brought a dessert that I can enjoy, and that really helps. So that would be the first thing. Make sure you've thought about alternatives to the standard holiday food and see if you can find something that you can bring either bought at the store or made on your own that would fit that typical pitfall for you. If you really love sweet desserts, make sure there's a dessert you can eat. If there's something else that you really love to have, try to find a good alternative so you're not tempted by the other options. So that's the first thing, finding suitable alternatives. And the other thing is just really thinking about why you're on the healing protocol you're on, what benefits it brings you, and getting your mind and kind of prepared for thinking about all of the reasons why you're going to stick with what you're doing before you get into a sticky situation and have trouble following it. So for me, I know my energy level is a really big thing. If I eat certain foods, and my energy just tanks, and I can't really keep up with life. So I know going in that to feel my best, to have a clear mind, to have energy, to feel good in general, that I have to eat a certain way. And I have that in mind before I go into a situation where there's a whole bunch of options that don't really serve me. So thinking about why you're doing what you're doing and recommitting yourself to that can really help ahead of time. And the other thing that I like to picture, I talked about this in one of my other videos, is that, food choices aren't always black and white. You can have kind of what I call your path of ideal foods for you, and then you can have foods that are completely off limits. Like for me, that would be like eggs. I'm allergic to eggs, so that's just not even ever an option. But then there's some things that are in a gray area that are kind of in your bike lane, if you will, a little bit off the side from your path, not really on your path, but foods that you can sometimes enjoy. And so defining that for yourself and really understanding what foods are always okay for you, what foods are only sometimes okay, and what foods are never okay, can help you when the holidays come up. So maybe you can loosen the reins a little bit, but you kind of know the line that you're not going to cross. So having that definition for yourself can really help in choosing what foods to indulge in a little bit more on a holiday. And the last thing is to make sure you manage your hunger level. So that's really important when it comes to not getting overfull, which a lot of people can tend to do on a holiday, but also not getting too hungry. So I find with my clients that when you get into like an emergency situation in terms of your energy, if you're having your blood sugar drop, if you haven't eaten in a little while, if you go into a holiday thinking I'm going to eat so much, so I might as well not eat as much in the morning beforehand, that really is just going to shoot you in the foot. It's not going to serve you in the long run, because what's going to happen is you're going to get too hungry. You're not going to be able to think clearly. You're not going to be able to make good decisions about what you're eating because you're so hungry you just need something now, and whatever's in front of you you'll grab. So definitely don't go don't go into a holiday meal too hungry, and then remind yourself that you want to be like 80% full at the end of the meal, not 100 or more percent full, because you want to be able to save room for dessert if that's what's happening later, but also just, feel comfortable, not feel like you have any regrets about the meal. So my 3 tips were to bring your own alternatives and think about what alternatives you would love to have at your Thanksgiving meal in particular. And remember why you're doing this, what benefits you get out of following your healing diet, and think about which foods might be okay on occasion and also which foods are really never okay for you, and make sure you have that distinction in mind before you go into a holiday meal. And also think about your hunger level, not being too hungry beforehand or getting too full afterwards, and you should walk away a happy camper. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions about how to stick to your healing protocol during Thanksgiving, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.